started thinking about, well, what would I actually say if I went to an interview? You start thinking about the great thing about obviously I've been born in Birmingham. I know Birmingham inside out. But the great thing about lieutenancy is you see all the different communities. So when I agreed to be Lord Lieutenant, which is a very sort of way of putting it, the attraction to me was not to do royal visits and all the rest of it. I've got deputies, so I give all those to, but to get around the Midlands and meet all the different communities. Birmingham alone welcomes people from about 180 different countries every 3 years, on average, come and live in Birmingham. So it's super diverse. All those different communities, they tend to cling together a bit, inevitably. I've got a brother-in-law who's a white, educated Deloitte's accountant in Hong Kong, who clings to all the expats in Hong Kong. So people say, why do those communities cling together? Of course they bloody well do. So, even more if you arrive and you're a stranger and you've got no money and all the rest of it. So Birmingham is super diverse. It is multicultural. It is 50-50 now, pretty much, in sort of traditional, what you mean by traditional white. A lot of that would be Irish, and a lot of that would be immigrants in today's language, and 50 non-white. So it is very super diverse, but those communities are disparate, and they do cling together. So there are, and we've had 40 years of economic decline as well. So every single year from 1971, our GVA was less than the year before. People don't realise that. 40 years of that, and you've got vast areas of poverty, obviously, and social exclusion. So you've got a big, white, uneducated, low-skilled, low morale clunk of people around the place, different patches, and then you've got all these new people coming as well, looking for who actually are much more energetic, much more entrepreneurial, but still trying to find themselves on the ladder. Right. So all that is, I do understand all that. I live in that every day. So really, I got my head. Once I realised I need to do this to shut these people up. The games is a fantastic opportunity to bring all that together. So if I've had ambitions in recent years, I hated the fact that no one ever promotes the Midlands. Everybody else does. So what you know about the West Midlands, you've got from the Daily Mail, not like.
Definitely not the Daily Mail.
But that's what people think, so they read that stuff about industrial wasteland and breeding ground for jihadis. I hated all that, but it's got a lot of great stuff there. So we don't promote ourselves very well. We've lost our swagger, our football's in the championship, all that sort of bit, really. And the second thing is trying to bring all these communities together, because the people in the middle don't really understand who their neighbours are.
Yeah. Frankly. Okay, so I suppose my next question then is. Closing ceremony 2022 as a moment in time and then in 2032 those are sort of two moments in time that I has to think about, and let's start with the furthest one. What impact would you like the games to have had by 2032?
Did you watch Birmingham's contribution 20 years?
I did.
That was goosebumps for me. I can't watch that without welling up because actually you probably didn't see how tatty that bit of Birmingham is. Rubbish, you don't get that, but actually the people were fantastic, and that was knocked up in 10 seconds flat, really. So I chair a theatre that produced that, so I was close to all that, and people in it, I knew a lot of them, but that was, we didn't have much time to do that, and Birmingham's great at that sort of thing, and actually the energy of that and the way it was just great.
Energy is a great word to describe that, isn't it?
It was just fantastic, and so I find it difficult to watch it. So come back 2022. So closing ceremony. What will I want from that? You mean?
Well, I suppose the two-pronged question is, what do you want to have happened in the 11 days of the games by that closing ceremony? In terms of the moment where the eyes of the world are on you, and then by 2032, when perhaps those eyes have been diverted elsewhere, what change would you have liked to see?
So the first bit of rhetoric is simple, isn't it? And I must admit, I'm not really focused on that. So the games have to be fantastic. Then there has to be a great experience, a great visitor experience. All the people who come to the Midlands. All that has to be. So what it mustn't be is I described our football in the championship. It must be a Premiership game, and I have a real fear. I talked about the budget beforehand. So the nightmare is that people wake up on that August the 8th and say, "Oh, that was okay. That was Birmingham. That would just be an absolute nightmare." So obviously it's got to be up here. But the legacy, the bits that would go on, would be, just to go back to what I was saying. Actually, firstly that everybody would know who their neighbour was. We would wake up that morning and think. Okay, so I came to Birmingham or I came to West Midlands but I understand the people here now. I understand where they've come from. I understand how we all fit together, and it's a great place to be because of that. I'd love the political leadership to come together. Because it should do. This is an opportunity to do that. I'd love all those communities, as I said, all those communities to come together. I could go on and on with that.
Inclusion is the word I'm hearing.
Well, the 15,000 volunteers, for example. What Birmingham will do, this is a fact, not an aspiration. Birmingham will recruit those 15,000 volunteers from the deepest talent pool. We'll go really, not just people who apply, we'll really go into the areas I was just talking to you about.
So those 15,000 are representative
of those 100. And we will train them, and they'll be qualified, and they'll get jobs.
Okay.
And we will employ them afterwards. So that, and those are the things that will make a real difference. Birmingham will get its swagger back.
So this is potentially slightly a naive link I'm making, but I'm just going to say it for just to get somewhere else. But that's what we want, and we believe that the games can do that. Is the brand, given your earlier point about it, I watched a little bit of it, didn't really touch me. It wasn't really part of anything I really thought about prior to this. Do you think the Commonwealth Games brand and moment in the sun is big enough for that?
No.
What's it lacking?
Nothing like. Well, the obvious big thing, actually was really highlighted this morning. I was very shocked by it, but it was obvious really. So we had a presentation from the commercial guys about commercial revenue.
Lagardère?
And the broadcasting. So he said, the three countries where the broadcasting rights will come from: England, Australia, and New Zealand. I mean, that's 100,000 people. 100 million people. And that's got no reflection in the Midlands at all. When I say 50% non-white, that's subcontinent mainly, and African Caribbean, obviously principally. So the Games means nothing to them. So I've already been. It does to Jamaica, thanks to Bolt. So I've already been beaten up by the Jamaican community about about the legacy of 2012 when Jamaica were hosted in Birmingham. So they're aware of it, not very excited about it. I've talked to lots of Indian, Pakistan, Bangladesh audience, complete apathy. Don't know what it is, not interested in it, won't affect us, unless they're in business. Well, of course, they're very entrepreneurial, so if they can, we had an event for suppliers. We had what you might call beginners of a procurement warm-up event, where we had 300. We limited people to 2 people with a business. We had about 500 people turned up, 300 businesses. So there are a lot of that audience, not that I really looked at it because I'm used to a Birmingham audience, would have been subcontinent heritage. But they were there for business and had no interest in the Games whatsoever.
Do you think they need to have an interest in the Games, or is it enough for the business and the regeneration of the area?
It's going to be very difficult to get them interested in the sport. I hope the women's cricket would be fantastic. I go on about that every day. Because if there's a match at Edgbaston between India and Pakistan in women's cricket, it'll get a lot of interest, a lot of coverage. It'll give me something to talk about to that community. But otherwise, there's a big chance. And the other thing about the Commonwealth as well, of course, a lot of people in the Midlands who aren't members of, don't come from Commonwealth heritage either. It's not global, is it? It's a sort of empire thing. People are resistant to to that as well. So it's not the Federation's issue at all. It's the empire and the history of it, isn't it?
Maybe it is.
No, I'm saying the Federation ought to address it because it's trying to promote the Games.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's when I say the brand doesn't mean very much. That's not the Federation's fault.
No, but it has an opportunity.
Yes. Yeah. So and just to finish that off, before the Games came to Birmingham, there was one retired man. The only reason I know this, because as Lord Lieutenant, I went to a dinner on Commonwealth Day. So when I went to speak at this dinner, so I didn't know where I was going to. It was Commonwealth Day dinner, so it's March, isn't it?
Yeah.
So March 2 years ago, so the Games wasn't really thought of then in Birmingham, or way down the line, because Durban hadn't dropped out. So I went along to this dinner, and then met this man who'd invited me. He was one retired white man who'd been the company secretary of a company, who was the president of the Commonwealth Association in Birmingham, which was funded by the council and at about £5,000 a year until they stopped it. and he did this one dinner a year where he got